What's going on, my beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Hustle Coast podcast. And today we have an absolutely phenomenal guest. She is an artist, podcaster, and the creator of buildamusicbiz.com, where she helps and coaches artists to create actual businesses around their music. I give you Laquela.
Thank you so much. You made it here. Yeah,
Thank
so
you for being here.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited. This is my first podcast interview where I'm promoting this business, so it's exciting for me too. So yeah.
100%. Yeah, I actually found you on Instagram and saw your business that you were doing and how you were starting to coach artists to make businesses and become entrepreneurs as opposed to just focusing on the music. And I thought that was a really cool concept. And, you know, of course, for me, I'm an artist and know a lot of artists, so I figure it would definitely be beneficial.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it is a process I've been, thinking about for a couple years, and I finally put it into action maybe 2 months ago. So yeah, this is where I am now, and it's going really well.
Yeah, great to hear. And I definitely have a lot of questions about it and how you got into it and all that. But when I do my interviews, I always like to, get to know the person as well. So I like to start from the beginning, the origin story. For you,
nice.
Where were you born? What was your childhood like, family, all that?
Yeah, of course. Awesome. So origin story here. I was actually born in California. I was born there, but I spent a lot of time between New Mexico and Albuquerque and San Diego. So a lot of going to New Mexico for the summer. But I went to school in California, and and now I live here back in Albuquerque now. To be closer to my family and everything, it's a lot more stable too.
Yeah.
Not as crazy expensive.
Right,
I think
right.
they said one time San Diego was like the the most expensive city to live in the
Wow.
United States.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can
So
imagine.
growing up in that environment, and then also growing up, lower socioeconomically, it actually did really bring out the hustle in me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people who live in San Diego, it's like they have a normal job, they have like a side hustle, they have this and that, just to survive. So it's like a really, kind of like fast paced environment in that way.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine. I've actually never been to California. I'm home based out of Tampa,
Mhm.
Florida, but
Nice.
I've
So
always heard the
expensive.
stories of how expensive it is. So I
Yeah.
could not even imagine. So
Mm,
for sure.
yeah.
So and just to make sure I heard you correctly. So when you were growing up, you were going back and forth between California and New Mexico, or you primarily lived in California?
I did primarily live in California because I did all my school out here,
Okay.
But I spent a lot of summers in New Mexico, came to visit a lot, My family's
Okay.
originally from here.
Okay.
I actually don't even have family in California anymore. We all moved back here.
Oh, okay.
So,
Very nice. Very
so
nice.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And growing up, were you an only child? Did you have brothers and sisters?
I have one brother. He's a couple years older than me, and that's it. Um, and yeah, we're actually raised by our grandma, so we had the very strict upbringing, the very
Sure.
strict Hispanic, grandmother upbringing. So it's kind of funny because when I was growing up, I couldn't have boys stand near me when she picked me up from school. They couldn't even be anywhere near me.
Right.
And then the whole thing, if a guy wanted to talk, call me, he had to have his sister, call first and ask for me. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay. I like it. So that's cool. So as you and your brother growing up and like what kind of kid were you? Did you play sports? Were you into music? Were you into, what did you like?
Yeah, I was a big sports person. So
Okay.
so I played in high school, I played water polo, swim, and field hockey. I was
Wow.
captain on all my teams.
Hey, that's what's up.
And I was also the best long distance swimmer between 5 schools.
What?
And it was a pretty good accomplishment because I'd only been swimming for maybe 2-3 years, like professionally. And I was competing against people from other schools who've been swimming for like 10 years, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So that was, I won league championships one time, for that.
That's
So
epic. That's
Mhm.
epic. I
Thank
think
you.
you might be the first person that I've spoken to that is like that was an elite swimmer. I
Oh,
haven't had one on the podcast yet, so
Yeah.
that's epic.
Mhm.
And for me, I was also a sports guy growing up, and
Nice.
I just think that sports is so good. No matter what sport it is, I think
Mhm.
it's so good for kids. Learn how to win, learn how to lose, learn how to
Mm.
train. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah, and I actually was the first person in my family to play sports like on an organized level. So now that I'm like older, I see like, my cousins have their kids in sports and like they're doing really well. I have a younger cousin who's like really great at basketball.
wow.
So I can kind of see how I kind of like paved the way a little bit in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
family for that. So, um,
100%.
yeah, another thing I want to talk about that was my school was we were pretty much a poor school, and the sports that I played were like not not what we were like the best at my school.
Okay.
So for example, like field hockey and water polo, we lost constantly. Like
Oh, wow.
we were
Okay.
literally doing it for the love of it and for the just the character building and the thing to do after school and all that stuff, stay off the street.
Yeah.
But we lost all the time, and I think that was really good character building because it just taught me the whole like grit thing of like not giving up and still finding the success in yourself of
Yeah,
improving rather than trying to compare yourself to other people all the time.
for sure.
Because we're all improving at the same time, we had our players that would make first team, out of the
Mhm.
whole league. Um, but so that I think was really interesting for me growing up. Because in swim I did great. It was individual.
Yeah, yeah.
I got first place. Team wise, I was like, ah.
Yeah, right, right.
But we're all pushing each other. It was great. It was a great experience, and that was something that was really, I guess, formative for me in my like
Yeah,
youth.
yeah.
So yeah.
100%. Very cool. And yeah, I found too that like for me, it was those same years, kind of like how you're saying, those years that my teams were the worst, where I learned the most, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So it is like
exactly.
that. Okay,
Hmm.
so you're in California, you're growing
Yeah.
up, you graduate high school?
Yeah, I graduated. I was actually a salutatorian.
Oh, wow.
So I was at, yes, sports and the academics thing I was pretty good at.
Okay, that's epic. Super
Hmm.
cool. And then so from the time you graduated, so did you end up going to college? Did you go
Yes.
straight into entrepreneurship or
Yeah, I actually did go to college. I went to UC San Diego, and I did get accepted into UCLA, UC Berkeley, all the public schools in California. So I picked UCSD because it was in my city, and I was also stupid because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stay near my boyfriend.
Right,
And
right.
when looking back, I'm like, I wish I would have just went to UCLA or Berkeley or one of those and like had a different experience outside my city.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what I did. I decided to stay, and it actually my college experience was actually really difficult, and I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I related to a lot of the people who went to my college,
Okay.
because a lot of them were we would be in class and they would want to talk to you and like have study groups and this and this and that. And then once the class is done and the final's over, they don't want to talk to you anymore. So everyone was really focused on the academics, like extremely focused.
Okay.
So I'm like, I wish I would have went to SDSU where people had a social life. No.
Right, right.
But I did really well in school because I was really focused.
Good. Well, that's
Because
good.
of that. So, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. 100%. And
Mhm.
what were you studying in college?
I went to college thinking, I just love other cultures. I love languages. I love, traveling and stuff. So I went in as an international studies major.
Mm,
And then I realized I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with that. So as a career, so I just did the next thing that I thought was interesting because in my mind it was the college was so difficult. It's like the 35th best school in the world or something. And it was so difficult that I was just focused on getting through it
right, right,
and
right.
graduating. So I'm like, I'm gonna pick what's interesting to me, which was sociology of social inequality. And now that I'm seeing, what I'm doing, it actually is related a lot.
Okay.
Just like the power differences between like, artists and like the music industry and major labels and like those types of things.
Yeah.
And then just all, um the communities I'm serving, it really ties into like how we have not been really exposed to business knowledge, business
Mm,
credit, all those types of things, how to structure a business, how to file for a business. It all seems like it's really like information that's been like packed away so that we don't
yeah.
know. So that really seems like it's obvious to me now that that's how the music industry is and how business is in the United States. Because only 8% of businesses know only 8% of businesses are using their business credit correctly. So this is a whole thing, across the United States, that it's not just artists who don't know how to do these things. Business owners themselves don't know how to do these things. So I'm trying, I want to open those doors for people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. And like I said, we're definitely going to talk all about that today. So
Hmm.
let me ask you this. When did you first get into music? Because I did see
Yeah.
that before you got onto the and opened up into the business side, you
Hmm.
also were or are an artist.
Yeah, yeah. So I did start in actually it's I've always been on the business side of things because I actually started as a music manager, a marketing manager. And
Okay.
this was all like I started like on the, neighborhood level with like my boyfriend's group, and then I moved on to a different group. So I worked with a couple, maybe two or three groups in San Diego, all kind of like small time, but we did do a lot of cool stuff eventually. But so how I got into it, yeah, I started marketing for my boyfriend's group. Then I really learned all the ins and outs of like the business, the production, the music videos, of putting things together, the events, all that stuff. I did host two events. One was a poetry slam. That was pretty fun.
Cool.
And the other one was a 420 hip hop art event. So we had hip hop artists performing, we had actual visual artists doing their art and stuff, selling their art. And then we had 420 vendors who had their
Cool.
booths up and stuff. And that was a great turnout. It was really cool. And something interesting about that is oh, at the time our artist was we pretty much got a connection with Drake, and he sent Universal talent scouts from Universal to our show at that one.
Wow.
So that was
That's
cool.
big.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we had a little, contact with Drake at the time, which was cooler a year ago. No.
Right. No, I mean that's still huge.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And so
Yeah.
when you first were getting into it and when you were,
Hmm.
managing your first group, was that still in California?
Yeah, that was in San Diego. All pretty
Okay.
much all I've done in music business was in San Diego for the most part.
Okay.
Um, and we also did get a song produced by Scott Storch. So
Oh,
we went to his house in LA, got to go there a few times, maybe like 4 or 5 times finish. So that was also fun.
that's epic. Storch is one of my
Mm.
favorite producers.
Oh,
So
really? Yeah.
yeah,
He
yeah,
was huge in like the 2000s, I think
yeah.
it was like 70% what was on the radio at that time was produced by him.
Right.
Like it
No,
was crazy.
that's epic. And you guys had a song produced by him?
Yeah, we
That's
did.
really cool. Wow.
Yeah.
That's big right there. So, who are some of your biggest musical influences growing
Mm.
up?
Growing up, I was so I loved all different kinds of music when I was growing up. There was maybe 2 years in middle school where I was a skater. So I was actually I was a punk rocker. So before emo came out, I was a punk rocker. I like to make that clarification. I was not emo.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay. Right.
No, okay. But yeah, so I liked during that time, I liked bands like Nirvana and what is it, Sublime, because I like
Mm,
that, the beachy
love
rock
Sublime.
rap stuff. I know, right? Like
Yeah.
it's such a good mix of like all, different
Definitely.
genres. Um, and then and that was obviously when CDs were out and stuff. So me and my cousin, she worked at a thrift store that had CDs and clothing and all that stuff. So me and my friend would go in there, and my cousin would manage it, and she would watch the store by herself. So me and my friend thought that was like the past to go and be like, oh, we're gonna get these CDs and that CDs.
Right.
But she didn't have to pay for it. She told us like, you guys know I have to pay for that, right? Like
Yeah.
we can see on
Right.
the cameras what you're taking.
Right. Right.
But anyway, so we would just get all these random CDs like Michael Jackson, NWA, like Ice Cube, and that's kind of like where I started like listening, kind of like rap and like gangster rap and stuff. Um, so that was that was kind of like my influences.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
dope. Okay. 100%. And so for you, I know you said, so did you start you said in the music business side first, or did
Yes.
you, okay.
Yeah. So I did start in the music business side first of like marketing and stuff, like social media management. And I did artist stuff for a little bit.
Okay.
There's a reason I go back on the business side. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I had some songs out. I'm like, but I have always been a lot better on the business side of things.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and it is interesting because it kind of like is in my family a little bit. Because my older cousin, who's maybe like 10, 15 years older than me, he was a big promoter here in New Mexico back in the day. And I
Oh,
actually
wow.
was not aware of that until I started doing music stuff myself. And he was doing producing and managing and promoting and like that type of stuff. Um, and he actually brought Nipsey Hussle back in the day to New Mexico to perform. So yeah, he has like pictures with him and everything. So
Hey, that's lit. That's dope.
yeah,
Heck yeah.
yeah.
What's the music scene like in Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Hip hop is big. Hip hop is huge here. There's a huge love and fan base for like old school rap. Anyone old school rap like who comes perform here, it's like everyone comes. Like people love that stuff. Chicano rap, everyone loves it here. So this is like a major spot for especially the Chicano rap and especially like old school rap.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely makes sense. And do you think like there's a lot of upcoming artists in that area, let's say in those lanes?
Yeah, there's definitely there's a couple, there's like Hondro who's done like songs with major people, like some of the product and everything. There's Versatile Verse who also is like pretty big. He does a lot of things. Yeah, so there are quite a few, artists who are like doing their thing. I think Albuquerque's always been on the kind of like what is it? Because we're not close to LA, we're not close to New York. We kind of have our own little thing going on. But I see that spreading now, which is kind of interesting. Because I've never ever seen growing up. I never saw New Mexico things in other states like in California. So for example, we have our own type of chile, which we grow here and originated here. This is actually the chile capital of the world.
I didn't know
New
that.
Mexico, yeah, it is. And we have our own type of chile that originated here and everything. And I just barely saw this start to be sold in grocery stores in other cities.
That's
And
dope.
my entire life growing up, I'm like, I've never ever seen anything from New Mexico sold other places. But now whoever's doing their promotion, marketing, or distribution, or whatever, is doing a really good job. Because in like small town Illinois, where my kid's dad lives, he sees New Mexico stuff like now.
That's
And
what's up.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
100%. So I've never been to New Mexico
mhm.
myself. However, I have heard great things. And like I said, that's why I thought it was cool. You know what I mean? Because you're in a completely different state. I'm in Orlando, Florida. And I just
Yeah,
figured, connect the two spots, you know?
exactly. Yeah. And there's a lot of there's a deep culture here, very old culture. The oldest church in the United States is also here. So there's lots of like Spanish colonial history here, which goes back like almost 300 years before the United States was a country. um, yeah. So as my grandma actually remembers the first time she saw American white people come to her like town in New Mexico, in the United States.
Dang.
Yeah, it
So there's
is.
a lot of history there.
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of history. A lot of spiritual type things. That's why it's also called the land of enchantment. That's the little slogan.
Yeah.
There one story which is very interesting. There's a church in Santa Fe where back in the day apparently they were building a staircase or something, and the man who they contracted, who they already paid to make the staircase, he passed away for some reason. So the church was there, like trying to figure out how are we going to finish paying for this staircase. We already paid the guy; he's not here anymore. We're not able to get that money back. So they prayed. Apparently, they were praying to God to ask, for a way to finish the staircase for the church. And then all of a sudden, one day, one man just appeared. They don't know where he came from or nothing, and he came and he finished the staircase. And people, thousands of people come and visit this staircase every year because it was made with no nails and no glue during a time, when they didn't have glue or none of those types of things. But yeah, somehow it's made with no nails.
Insane.
I know, right?
Crazy.
That's why this is called the land of enchantment, because there's really a lot of weird things, scary stuff too. No.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're ever interested, look up supernatural stuff in New Mexico or whatever, and it's like even the Roswell stuff happened here too.
I
Yeah,
remember that for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Hills have eyes. No, that was
Right,
also
right.
here.
Dang, you guys have all the scary stuff out
I
there.
swear, man. I had to drive through New Mexico at night before I think I was coming from Texas or something. It was so scary, man. Like, it was the most pitch black night you've ever seen in your life. Like, I've never seen dark so dark. Like, it was scary as shit.
That's wild.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna stay in my city. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure, 100%. So, did you have any mentors or key supporters coming up, or?
Yeah, so I think, my swim coach was a big, motivational person for like me and for like everyone else on the team. He was like an Olympic trainer. He trained Olympians. But he chose to work with our school and work with us, you know. So he was like an amazing coach. And he never wore shoes. It was this like surfer white guy, never ever wore shoes, and if he did, it was like sandals. And one time we offered him, we're like, coach, like we'll pay for you to go get a pedicure so you can get your feet fixed because they're messed up. He was like, no, no, I wouldn't put anyone through that. Like,
It's wild.
so yeah, so he was cool. He's a character. He lived on a boat. He lived on a little boat on the whatever it's called,
Right.
the docks. But another person that was, I think, pretty key, and like this person came later. Um, when I started, so the reason I started doing like the business development, business credit stuff, I actually got a job as a business credit analyst. And I got the job not because I was experienced in this. I got the job because I showed a lot of like potential. And my boss hired me in this position, giving me the chance, you know. And he was really hard on me, like drilling me on things like all the time. We'd have meetings at 7 in the morning, and like right away he's asking me questions and like trying to, you know, making me think and stuff. So it's like I really had to prove myself in that position. And my coworkers, people who were working same position as me, this is why they had me so hard on me. The two other people who were working with me was a man who's an attorney. That was my other coworker who did the same job as me, and another woman who had a master's in business administration, who's, you know, much older than me. So I was probably younger than everyone in that job by like 20 years.
Sure, you learned a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I learned. I was actually the best person in that position by the end of that job. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, what gap did you see in the music industry when
Mhm.
you first started with, I guess, the idea behind your website and training artists?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was actually a big like topic for me because I have worked with artists who had the funds, they had you know, the connections, they had like everything that artists think they need to succeed in the industry, and he still couldn't make it work. So there's like, there's so many people that love music and that love making music, but there's not enough opportunities. That's the problem. It's not that their music's not good enough. It's not that they're not marketing right. It's not that they don't have some gimmick to play on. It's not any of those things. It's literally just not enough opportunities. And no, like hardly any people make money or livable income on the streaming, you know.
Of
So
course.
so it's very difficult to get into those positions. So I realized that there has to be another way that artists can make income without having to rely on the streams and the plays and the ticket sales, which is not working anymore. Because ever since, you know, people don't use CDs anymore, everyone used to just hustle CDs and they could make good, you know, like a few $100s a month or a week. But now that's not how things are. So it's like people are left with this gap where they have almost no real way to make money with music. And it's so oversaturated, of course, with people making music that it's hard to get, you know, an audience or a fan's attention without doing something crazy. You know. And I even saw some A&R talking today on Instagram saying like, um, you know, the artists that are the most memorable are the ones that make you uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, but who the hell wants to be uncomfortable all the time listening to music? So like, so even yeah, that's a gimmick that might work for a little bit, but it's not going to work for the regular artists, you know.
Right.
And it might work for someone who's already famous, but
Right.
not for the regular artist. It's just going to turn people off. So it's like there's all this advice going out about how, you know, do this and do that and do that, but it's all gimmicky. All of it is gimmicks for the most part, or it's all some little weird hack trick with the algorithms. Um, but so that was the initial, you know, my initial like thoughts about why I'm going into this or why I need to create something for everyone. And
Yeah.
it kind of came together after I did the business credit stuff, after, you know, I worked at that job and everything. And I kind of like, my mind just put the pieces together of like, you know, artists can literally do this exact same thing. You can just take your message, whatever message you have, you know, you're about mental health for, you know, men. Then you can create a seminar, you know, weekly seminars for men to talk about things, you know, maybe about their feelings or issues or problems that they don't normally get that, you know. And so you can do that with any message, you know, anything that you make music about, you can find some type of business, a lot of times that's low startup costs because now we have the internet, you know, and services and digital products and stuff. You don't need a lot of startup money. And you can literally find something unique for you and have less competition than just trying to put money or music out there with everyone else doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was like me, you know, kind of how I came to that. Another deep topic on that is, I had a friend from middle school actually who we weren't super close. We didn't talk too much or nothing, but you know, we know each other for a long time. And when I started doing music, when I was an artist, I got invited to host at a hookah lounge like nightclub. So I invited my friends. I said, you know, anyone wants to come, you know, come meet me there or whatever. So he showed up, and it was cool because it was him. It was two other girlfriends and another guy friend, and we all went to the same middle school and the same high school. And this is when I was 25. So it was cool because we had our whole little, like, you know, middle school crew. It was so cool, you know, all that stuff. And then like 2 years after that happened or so, maybe we'd like turned 30 or so. He like I just heard that it's also a trigger warning. But I heard that, you know, he was not alive anymore. And like we didn't know why. No one said anything about how it happened or none of that stuff. But like, you know, sometimes it's obvious. And and anyway, he was really, really into music and really, like, I saw him trying so hard, you know. And sometimes I don't know, this is not confirmed, but like sometimes I really believe that he did it because he didn't make it in music, you know. And I feel like there's so many people out there with the same love and passion and, like, you know, all this stuff for music. And the music industry is just not made for that. You know, it's not made for these people to be able to succeed. It literally is not made for people to succeed. The music industry, it's made for people to fail. So it goes on a lot. So for me, it's like, there's a lot of deep levels to like why I'm doing this and what need I see for it. And, you know, when I talk to people, I have my, you know, I have sales conversations like over DM, and you know, a lot of people have told me, like, this is what I needed. Like, this is like, this is the structure and the, you know, guidance I need, because everyone's out here just like flailing in the water and not knowing what direction to go or what to do with their music or how to monetize it. And everyone's doing the same thing everyone else is doing, or coming up with these crazy ideas, you know, make people uncomfortable. Like, like,
right.
So,
we saw that didn't work with 6ix9ine. It blew up in his face. So don't do that.
No. Yeah. Like,
you know?
Exactly.
For sure. No, but I really and again, I'm very sorry to hear that about your friend.
Yeah.
But and that's why I wanted you on the podcast, because I think that message right there is super important, where it's like, even if you're a musician and you love music to your core, like I do, you cannot be unwilling to do other things that are going to allow you to build the life that you need in order to keep doing your music, to, you know, and there's so many other things. First of all, there's other jobs in the music industry other than just being an artist, which is the first thing. Second thing is, it's like, you don't have to become super famous to make, you know, to make your mark in music. You know, you just need 1,000 true fans. But again, I do understand it is hard to even get that 1,000 true fans. And that's where, you know, where you come in, and where I really like your ideas of closing that gap is teaching business processes and teaching that it's okay for artists to use other ways to make money, with maybe music taking a back seat a little bit, just in order to get that income, and being willing to do that. So I think that's really cool.
And it's and even if it is like a tiny bit of the back seat, it's still at the same time, this is the vehicle and the mode that you're going to use to promote your music. So once you have your business out, you have, you know, your marketing stuff, slap your music on everything.
Right.
Sure. Put your music on everything, every background, everything, you know, have events, you know, for your business, collaborate with other business owners, perform at your events, you know. So it's the vehicle to promote your music in a unique way that people will really connect with. Because let's say they're already interested in your business, that you provide them something that they want or need. They already bought something from you. They already gave you their money. now they're even more invested in what you're doing personally and with your music,
Right.
It's like,
For
hey,
sure.
I just realized that the person I bought this seminar from also makes music. Oh wow, I love his message. I love what I bought from him. I'm going to see what his music's about. So it just creates a whole new level of investment for fans,
Right.
a new way to connect with them, and that's unique.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I love it. Have you,
Mhm.
so obviously you talk to a lot of artists probably on a daily basis. Have
Yes.
you found that a lot of artists are, because I know a lot of artists and I know there's probably a certain percentage that might not be open or who don't want to get out there and do the work because of course
Hmm.
building a business, it takes a lot of know-how, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of work. Have you been running into people who are like, I don't know if I'm committed to that or wanting to do that?
Yeah, some people have that has been like some of the pushback, but it's mostly from young people, mostly from like people who say, hey, I just turned 18, I just turned 19, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. But this is not specifically for, it can be for any artist. But this is for, people who've been trying and doing and things have not been working, and they've been at this for a while, and they are looking for that one thing, and they think that, if I just have money, or if I just have this, I just have that, I'm gonna make it. That's, kind of where I'm gearing my efforts towards, is those people who are, been trying and doing, and all this stuff.
Right.
But that is one of the pushbacks, is just, I don't know if I I don't know if I'm ready for this, or yeah, it's a
Right.
lot of work.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, tell me they see the difference and the need for this for them. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, being that you do work with a lot of artists, and this is kind of on a sidebar, but like, what
Mhm.
are some of the most common mistakes that you think that artists are making, other than maybe not starting like an additional business in general?
Um, that's what it's hard to say, like, what the pinpoint the one thing that they're doing wrong, because like I said, a lot of them are doing everything right. It's not what they're doing wrong. It's the industry that's not made for that.
Right.
So I don't think that there's one thing or one main thing even that artists are doing wrong.
Okay.
Of course, I think one thing that they could be doing maybe a little better is just really pinpointing the message of their music, really, like, extracting that and figuring that out clearly. That's something that's different and unique, and, like, something that people relate with, and then making sure that their brand is always aligned with that message. And that's something they could do today,
100%.
to help improve their connection with people.
Yeah, for sure. And that was actually going into my next question was on branding. So,
Hmm.
for you, what role do you think that branding plays in building a successful music business or business?
Everything. Everything. Yeah, everything is about the branding, because people don't care what you're doing if it doesn't speak to them, if it's not something that they're, because what they say in sales is like, if to build a product that people will buy, you have to fill a want, a need, or a pain. So they either want it, they need it, or it's causing them a pain not to have it. Um, so that's essentially like where you need to find your message, is in one of those wants, needs, or pains. So once you can, kind of solve that for people, that is your branding. That's what you're going to run with the entire time, is whatever that pain, need is, how you're solving it for people, and that's your brand. And essentially that's yeah, it's core to everything. It's core to everything, because to compete nowadays, back in the day when, all this, like, kind of like salesy stuff started coming out, it was about information. It was about, what can you tell people, what can you tell people, to make them buy this, all the features, all the gadgets, all the information behind it. But nowadays people don't care about that as much, because they can just find it online. So if you're trying to sell something by selling like all the features all the time, it's not necessarily going to work, because people can look that up on your website. So what you need to do to sell something is to connect with that message, with that pain, need, want thing, and sell, and make sure everything's around that.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
100%. I definitely couldn't agree more. So, without giving too much information, obviously, because we
Mhm.
haven't bought the course, but can you walk us through a typical strategy of your coaching a new client or artist?
Yes, yes. So my course is broken down into two options for people. There's two options for people to complete the program. So the first one is a full intensive course where you get all the information plus more. The second one is a series of challenges. So it's 7 challenges. The first one is free to get you, introduced to the program. And pretty much each step of those challenges, each challenge is going to walk you through a different process. So both the course and the challenges have 21 checkpoints. So each of them is 7 steps or 7 levels. Each level has 3 checkpoints, and each checkpoint is gonna walk you through exactly the step that you need to take at that time. And they're all worksheet checkpoints. So everything's interactive. You're gonna, filling in information, all that stuff. So along with that, I have a list of 300 unique music messages for people to choose from. They're all categorized in subcategories, so you pinpoint one thing, then you can find something a little bit more detailed. So you find your message first. Then once you've found the message of your music, I have a list of 500 music business ideas, a lot of them low cost. And they're all categorized again by the message themes, by the main message themes. So then you can go into your theme and then look up, what kind of business you can start. You can cross ideas. So you have 2 different business ideas on the list. You combine them or something. So there's a lot of different combinations that you can, use to start your business. So that's the first thing, is the finding your music message, connecting it to another business. Then we're going to do research on your audience or the industry. And then after that, we're deciding your company name and address. We're going to do nitty gritty things for business credit to make sure everything's aligned. So that when you do apply for funding, that you'll get it. And business credit cards, store credit, that type of stuff. And then we're going to develop your product. We're going to brand your business. We're going to register with the Secretary of State, with the IRS. We're going to make sure your business bank account is set up, your merchant account is set up the correct way. And we're also going to set up trade line accounts. So once you have your business set up, we're going to apply for trade lines, which are things like gas cards, store accounts that build your business credit. So then we're going to build your business credit, exactly what I did with other business owners at my other job as a business analyst. And then finally, once we've done those things, we're going to look into ways. I also have a giant list of ways that you can use your business, promote your music. So then you start on that avenue of using that business you've started to make your entire image into a bigger brand and your music into something bigger.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And so when somebody takes your training, do you help them? Like, for example, just because one of the things that I know that was a little pain in the butt for me was filing paperwork for the LLC and stuff like that. Is that something that you help with as well?
Absolutely. So I have a whole Secretary of State guide that has every state listed and all the links to the forms, the apply for the portal, the online portal. So I have a whole Secretary of State guide that's going to walk you through every single step of applying for those things. Nice. And that is actually, like you mentioned, it is probably the most difficult part, is just doing the paperwork. Right. And it's really not that difficult as long as you have the format and the steps and, go here, this is the link, click this one, do this one, So I have that all, set up, walk through for people. It's very easy to follow. So I have all those little nitty gritty things taken care of. So that's, nice. And that's actually what, that's another thing I see is really great value, is that I'm not just saying, hey, go apply for the Secretary of State. I'm giving you the links, the information, the steps, the this and that. Put your name like this. Don't use over this many characters for your business name. Right. So yeah, I have all those things for people to make it as easy as possible.
Awesome. Yeah. No, very cool. So let me ask this. What new tools or platforms are game changers for artists or entrepreneurs right now? Or do you just see a lot of people that are maybe having some success using certain platforms or tools?
Let's see. So I think the name of the game right now, and a lot of businesses are really realizing this, is finding services that are not, you don't have to pay for up front. So for example, if you can get, a platform that will sell your products for free, and then you just take it out, their fees are taken out of the when people purchase rather than paying them up front. That's really the way to go for everything, is finding those services and companies that allow you to take the money out after the fact and not having to be charged, up front. The one that I really like, and I don't think it's very known at all, is called nas.io, nas.io. And that is one where you can sell services like products. It's actually the thing I run the challenges through, and they don't charge anything up front. So I literally can host my entire store and everything for free. And there's not, yeah, there's, I don't think there's many like services that are similar to that, but yeah, nas.io, and pretty much free store, free online store, all that stuff. And that's one that I haven't really seen too much of people talking about.
Oh wow. No, that's definitely some great insight. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Okay. So kind of switching gears a little bit more, obviously, so now we kind of have an understanding of your business, and just to get to know a
Yes.
little bit more about, you as a businesswoman, have you had any failures, and how have you overcome them?
Failures, let's see. I mean, I've done a lot of different jobs. I've done a lot of different like corporate type stuff, and which has taught me a lot of things. But one of them that I guess was kind of like a fail. I was selling stem cell treatments that were $16,000, and it was all cold calling, no warm leads, nothing, just calling random people. And that was extremely difficult. I think I lasted there probably like a month and a half. And the only reason I lasted that long was because I made like one or two sales at the very end, very last second that I had before they were gonna like, they told me my time was up. But yeah, that was interesting. That was in San Diego as well. And yeah, I guess that was my biggest fail. Oh, one time, I guess, not in business, but in college, it was so difficult the first year that I was studying for finals. I didn't sleep one night before like two finals because I was studying. And I went to the first one, I did it. But I'm pretty sure I got like a C or something because I just did not care about that class. And the second, it was like economics. How funny! I'm like, how funny! Like I
Right,
took
right,
economics and I like hated it, and now I'm like doing these things.
right. That's
um,
hilarious.
yeah. And then the second final I had, I like walked in, I sat down, I looked at the paper, I'm like, okay, I can't do this, and I walked out. And I just failed the class, and I'm like, I don't care. I like cried on the way home. Like
Oh my
I was like,
God.
yeah, it was bad. That was my first time failing class for sure.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
But
I will say
yeah.
that, for me, I've done sales for a long time myself,
Mm,
and it is those jobs where you're sitting there cold calling people trying to sell something that really nobody wants, that even
yeah.
though they're not like long term, fixes, I guess you could say, like,
Hmm.
I also have learned a lot from those jobs, and those jobs kind of teach you
Hmm.
to be fearless and just call
Oh
anybody, and that's a
yeah.
good skill.
Yeah. It is. It absolutely. I think everyone should learn sales because it's
100%.
such a good life skill. Like in general, just like power dynamics, negotiating. Like all those things. And I actually have. So I'm also a book publisher. These are a couple of my books.
Oh wow.
And the first book I wrote, I published books for the most part. I've written one of my books like completely. And actually, it's called Date Like a Salesman: Sales Secrets to Relationships and Dating for Men, and I wrote it in a pen name, Lionel Cross, because Lionel Messi was doing really well that year. No, and anyway, and the book talks about how a lot of sales tactics can be related to dating specifically for men, and how like there's so many so many different aspects of that, like the power dynamics, the like just anyway. So it is true that you can literally use sales for so many things in life. And after I learned all these things, like having all these jobs and like all that stuff, it really did make me look at life in a different way, I guess.
Yeah,
you
100%.
know,
For
but
sure.
yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool about the publishing too. I didn't know that. I had
Thank you.
seen it on your
Yeah.
Instagram, but I wasn't like when I did,
Yeah.
because I do my research on everybody before I jump on with them, kind of like see what everybody's about. And I saw it said publisher, but I wasn't 100% sure exactly what it was,
Mm.
but that's
Yeah.
really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. I don't push them as much as I should. I've like done it for like a few years now, and I need to like make a page and like go all out and stuff.
Right.
This is my book. Let's see. Um, The Discipline Index, a self-improvement workbook for men, and it's a 30-day workbook where you will track your like workouts, your eating schedule, the goals that you want to achieve, every day. So that's also my most recent one.
Cool. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. What mindset do you believe is essential for long-term success in business?
The mindset that good things take time. So a lot of people think that they're going to get success overnight or things are going to happen quickly. But to tell you the truth, in business and music and and those types of things, it does take a while to, build something solid. So I would say to not let the time get to you, and to always stay focused on the end result. And to realize that each day that you're doing something little is adding up to that. So as long as you're doing something each day, that you're working towards that goal.
Yeah, 100%. I love that.
Yeah.
And that goes into my next one. How do you set goals?
How do I set goals? So I usually try. So when I set a goal, I usually try to have like a plan, and I do use my AI a lot. So I'm going to ask my AI, okay, this is what I want to do by the end of this month. Can you give me a schedule, or can you give me a daily plan and all that stuff so that I will achieve this? So I use my resources. I use my AI.
Yeah.
I let it do work for me that, it's called outsourcing. That's how you grow in business, is the outsourcing.
100%.
And anyway, so I use my resources. I try and make, the step-by-step thing and just stay focused on what I need to do that day.
Nice. I like that. 100%. How do you define discipline in your life?
Mm-hmm. Right. So, I think, in my life, because, I did sports, I went to this like college that was like pretty difficult. I did actually learn a lot about discipline. Just staying focused, saying like your mindset, staying strong and everything. And I think a lot of that has to do with not comparing yourself to other people. Because it's easy to lose your own like self in the idea that like, oh, this person is doing this and they had more, or they didn't have more and they're doing more than me, or like, that type of stuff. And I think it's just so important just to stay focused on yourself and your own personal growth, and nothing else matters besides that. Because I think especially with social media, it's easy to get, lost in the comparing yourself. But actually a lot of what you see on social media is completely fake. That girl who has all these followers and, like looks so beautiful all the time doing this and this and that is like in huge credit card debt. That one bro who's always talking about this is how you gotta treat women and do this and do that. He hasn't had sex in like 5 years now.
That's funny.
So yeah, so stay focused on yourself. Worry about yourself now.
but that is great advice though, because I think what's the quote, that comparison is the like thief of all joy or something like that.
Yes, yeah, something like that. Yeah. Absolutely, it is.
I agree. Yeah. That's a great point. What does hustle mean to you?
Oh man,
because this is the Hustle Coast podcast, so I have to ask.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. Because like I said, how, I grew up in like one of the most expensive cities to live in, and I grew up poor. That was like huge, I guess, like, building, building for me. But like, yeah, I guess, hustle to me means, it's just that feeling of like being so focused on what you're doing that, you're eating your meal, but you're thinking about your business idea. You're doing this, but you're thinking, and you're always improving and always thinking of like, what is the next step? What is the next level? What do I need to do next? And not being satisfied with your success that you have today. Like, yeah, you may have had a win today, but what are you going to do tomorrow? That type of stuff. So it does mean a lot to me. And actually I'm a huge, huge Nipsey Hussle fan. And that's, obviously we talked about a lot.
Hustle and motivate.
So hell yeah. So like so when I'm working and doing my stuff, literally always have Nipsey playing. Like,
nice.
like always.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you think hustlers are born or are they made?
I think they're made. I guess they can be born, but I think they're made, because you see that a lot of people who grew up with like, money and like this and that, it's hard for them to get into that mindset. But people who didn't, it's just another day. So,
Yeah.
So I think that definitely has, a lot to do with its environment. I think a lot of its environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you, what do you want your legacy in music and in business to be?
I want my legacy to be, to have a whole new generation of artists that have their own brands, their own businesses, their own platforms, their own way to make money, and they're not caring or dependent or even, even thinking about major labels. I don't think anyone should sign to a major label. I think they just rip people off and use them, and they're all owned by culture vultures who don't care about them either. So I think, so that's what the legacy that I want to leave is a generation of artists, of people in the community, Black and brown, obviously for the most part, who are elevated in a way that's not dependent on the industry, on the music industry.
Yeah, no, I definitely love that. All right, absolutely. So we definitely got to pick your brain all about business today, and it's been crazy. So as we're kind of coming to the end here, these next questions, they're more just fun, just for people to get to know you, no pressure, just learn a little bit more about you.
Nice.
So if you could instantly master any skill without having to do the work, what would it be?
To learn any language. To learn any language, just hear it and just learn, just know it, That's what I want to do.
That would be epic, for sure. Or any and every language, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. To know everything. Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, but I like doing accents, so I can do 15 accents.
Oh, well, I have seen that in some of your acting videos. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I need to do some. I need to do more.
That's what's up. Do you want to show us one of those right now?
Hi, my name's Tina. I'm from New York. I make a lot of... No. I did one that, New York is harder for me, but I did it for my last video, and I'm like... I can do a difference between Georgia and Texas. So not just country, I can do, different kinds of country.
Hey, if you want to.
I'm from Georgia. My name's Daisy. I'm from Georgia. I love to make apple cobblers.
Hey, that's a good one. That's good.
And then here's Texas. No, okay. I'm not gonna do it. I'm done.
No, that was good. That was good. So, if you could have any superpower, what would it be, and what would you use it for?
Any superpower? Let's see. I guess this is kind of cool. I would want to know, how? Okay, so I would want to have, okay, this is crazy. I would want to have an internal surveillance system where I can at any moment tap into anywhere, anytime. So whatever is going on in the other side of the world, I can be okay, I'm gonna tap my mind into that, and I can see what's going on and hear it.
Hey, that's a pretty good one. I haven't had somebody say that one yet.
I'm I want to know everything.
Right.
That's going on all the time.
That's good. I like it.
Oh my God.
All right. So in this situation, you get $10,000, but you have to spend it all at one store. Where are you going?
Can it be an online store?
Absolutely, it can.
Okay. Let's see. If I could pick any store. This is the thing, I'm not even a material type person. I don't wear a lot of brand names and stuff. And I don't even really wear a lot of jewelry. Let's see. Okay, I got it. Ulta.
Nice.
I'm I don't really, I'm not huge fan of brand names. I'm not this and that, but I love makeup. No.
Hey, that works. That works. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
Favorite movie or TV show? I love The Office. I think it's so funny. I'm a nerd at heart. So I like all that awkward stuff. So The Office is great. Let's see. Yeah, and if you've never seen the Flamin' Hot movie, have you ever seen that movie? It's not new, but it's about the hot Cheetos. It's about the guy who made hot Cheetos. You should watch it sometime. It's on Netflix. I think. Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's called Flamin' Hot. Okay. And just his story is just so interesting. It's so interesting the way, because he actually started as a janitor at the Frito-Lay factory. What? And then this is all a true story. And then he made his way up and pretty much came up with the idea of the hot Cheetos flavor. He made the flavor and then pitched it to the main guy at Frito-Lay, the main guy, and somehow got a business meeting with him to present it, and then they all just but it's such an interesting movie. I relate with it so much.
No, that's epic. I love entrepreneur movies. We just watched the movie Air about the Nike shoes, and the one about the McDonald's guy.
Oh, nice.
So I love movies like that. So I'll definitely check that out because I'm a big movie buff.
Mm.
For sure. What's your favorite artist or band?
Favorite artist, I have to say Nipsey Hussle. Definitely favorite artist, most motivational. And then, just, and the things he talks about with like the ownership, entrepreneurism, all those things, it just relates so much with what I'm doing. So the marathon continues.
Heck yeah, 100%, 100%.
The movement continues.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you could go, what is your dream vacation?
Dream vacation, let's see. I would really want to go to the Mediterranean. Want to go like Greece and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. That's a good one for sure. And last one, what is your dream car?
Okay. It's like asking what my favorite football team is. I'm like, okay.
She's like, I don't care. Just give me one of those nice green ones.
Okay, I'm gonna be basic. No, like I'm very what's it called, grounded and all that. Like I just want a whatever the best model of like the Honda Accords or something.
Yeah. Hey, Hondas
I like Hondas. I love Hondas.
Yeah, I love Hondas. I love Hondas.
And I think they changed or something. Because when I was growing up, I feel like they weren't as good of a car. Like they weren't known, like, or they weren't popular or something. And then all of a sudden, the past like 10 years, now you see their prices are like crazy for Hondas, or not crazy, but just like more,
Yeah, no, they definitely are.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So as we're coming to a close here, what's next for you? Any new projects or campaigns coming up?
Yeah. So next for me is I am going to be making a team, because I do get a ton of inquiries about this, like on threads and everything. So, and it's actually like too much for me to keep up with, like to have conversations with everyone. So I'm actually going to create a team of people who are going to get commission to also sell this product and get all the sales training and all, everything they need. So I'm actually scouting people out now to join my team. I have one person so far. And yeah, so that's gonna be the next level to really, spread this in the community. So I was thinking like, I'm only one person, I'm only one woman. I can only respond to so many people a day, and there's a huge need for this. So I'm gonna, start scaling it and bring people on.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, congratulations, and definitely good luck with that. I'm sure it's gonna go well for you. Any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
Let's see. I want to thank my kids because the first 3 months of this business, they're here with me every day. So everything I was doing was with them in the background, and
shout out to
them.
And
so, yeah, so it's been, they've been here with me the whole time doing it. And my daughter, like she's really interested in what I'm doing. So she'll get in front of the camera and be like, hi guys.
That's cute.
So yeah.
Very cool. And last but not least, where can people find you? Your socials, website, all that.
Yes. So everything, threads, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is all I am Laquela. Laquela.
Awesome. Absolutely. And I'm definitely going to tag those links in the description as well once this video does drop. But at least that way the people will know where to go. But other than that, Laquela, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know more about you and your business and helping artists achieve entrepreneurship. I really love your message, so keep it up. I want to thank you so much again for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
For all of our viewers, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Hustle Coast podcast, and we will see you on the next episode. Peace.